Friends, it's Ranger Russ from the Meggs Point Nature Center at Hammonasset Beach State Park, and I have some great news. The park is open. Hammonasset is opened. Some of the other parks across the state may not have been able to open yet. We had to delay our opening a little bit. You know, you've got tree snags and different things that could be hazards, and we want to make sure that all of the hazards are removed before the parks open. So please check with your local park before you head out and visit your park. Check, make sure that it is open and available for enjoyment. It looks like there's a little rain off over Long Island right now, but here at Hammonasset, it's a very comfortable day, a nice breeze, not very sunny. So if you don't enjoy full sun, this is a great day to come and visit Hammonasset. And all the other parks as well. So I really want to encourage people when you are looking for a place to visit, try and find a place that you haven't been to before. So most people have visited Hammonasset before, and I don't want to discourage you from coming here, but if Hammonasset is looking full or you're looking for a new or different place to go, try and visit one of the other parks, forests, or wildlife management areas, because there are lots of areas that you can visit and hike and enjoy. Now, today's program is a little special. I think most people would consider this not their favorite animal, but for today, this is absolutely my favorite animal. And it is a very interesting animal. And I don't know if you can see them still behind me. I am surrounded right now by over 150 Canada geese. Now I'm going to correct everyone right off. They are not Canadian geese. Everybody wants to say Canadian. They are Canada geese. And I believe that's the last name of the person that named them. His last name was Canada. So they are Canada geese. And we have a lot of them here at Hammonasset. I'm going to flip the camera because they're not only behind me, but they're also in front of me. You can see that they're over there. And we're going to spin over. You can pan. You can see there's a group over there. In the very far parking area, there's more. And then there's more. There's some right up here close to me. So Canada geese, they are a large goose, average about 14 pounds. They can get bigger. They can get up to 24 pounds. A really interesting thing about their behavior is when they are pairing up, and they do tend to pair for life. It's not a guarantee, but they are pretty likely to stay with the same mate for most of their lives. But when they're pairing up, they pair up by size. So a small male will pair up with a small female, and a large male will pair up with a small female, and vice versa. So they're looking for geese that are of their same relative size, which I find fascinating that they will do that. For the most part, they are going to ignore me. They just noticed me there. You can see them eating one of their favorite foods, and it's grains or grass seeds. They will also eat aquatic seeds, aquatic plants, and aquatic insects. So they are a bit of omnivores. Their primary diet's going to be plants, but they will eat insects as well. I'm just going to sort of walk along with them, and hopefully they will just think that I'm just not paying attention to them. So many people consider Canada geese to be nuisances, or sometimes I've heard them referred to as invasives. They're not invasive. They can't be invasive if they're native to this area. So keep that in mind, but they can definitely be a nuisance. I don't know if you can see, but the area where they've been is covered with their scat. There are droppings everywhere. There's some feathers, but droppings everywhere. And this is a really big nuisance for people, especially golf courses don't like to see all the droppings. I don't know if you guys want to see one up close, but that is goose poop. Okay. And golf courses will actually hire dogs to scare the geese away. And the dogs are specially trained not to catch the geese, just to chase them and scare them away. They do it sometimes at airports as well, because these can be hazards to planes. It is a large bird again. So you want to watch out for that. Now, for a bird, it's a fairly long-lived bird. They can live 10 to 24 years, but on extreme occasions and in captivity, they can live quite a bit longer than that, almost doubling that. Actually, they can double that. So they can be 50 to 60 years old, and I think the record was a 70-year-old goose, but I believe that was a captive goose, not a wild goose. So let's see if we have any questions. Well, right away I see Allison is asking, are the state parks back open? And again, it's going to be up to the individual park. Hammonasset is open, but other parks may not be open yet. So check with your park, check with the DEEP Twitter account, check with the DEEP Facebook, and you can go to the DEEP website to get information on parks. And if you can't find it, just call the park before you get out there. Just don't want to create traffic around parks that are closed. So hopefully people are starting to get their power back. I'm understanding that a lot of people, I still don't have mine, and I don't think we're going to get it for quite a while. Okay, so back to the geese. Now, these are migratory, and one of the other reasons that they have become a nuisance is some of them do not migrate. Some of the geese will actually spend the winter here in Connecticut. The reason that that becomes a nuisance is they are dropping their droppings all year long, but also it's a nuisance for other birds. Because what are they going to eat while they are here in Connecticut over the winter? They're going to eat grains. Typically, they're going to be foraging through crops, so old cornfields. They're going to be out there looking for the leftovers. What they are eating is the food that the migratory birds would be eating in the summertime. So, if you think of it that way, they are consuming food year-round when they used to only consume it in the summer, and that becomes a hazard not only to other geese that actually are migrating, because there are some from Connecticut that migrate, and there are some from further north that migrate through Connecticut and then migrate back through Connecticut. They are reducing the food that those other migratory geese and other species would normally need to eat. So that can become an issue for native birds. All right, I'm just looking to see if we have any questions. Pictures. All right, I'm not sure what's that referring to, the Me Too. Somebody says, I love Canada geese. Maybe that's what it is. Pictures and statues are around their home. Rosemary really likes Canada geese. Very cool. And Linda's asking if the Nature Center is open. And no, the Nature Center is not open. And as of yet, I don't have a date that we will be able to open. But we are doing programs like this program, and we are going to be doing one this coming Friday. So tomorrow, actually, at 6:30, we're going to be doing live birds of Connecticut, live birds of prey from Connecticut, a place called Hope. We'll bring their birds down. We're going to maintain our social distance, and I will be filming them, broadcasting them on Facebook Live. And we're going to set up a computer so that we can do them on YouTube Live as well. So I'm going to ask everyone to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the more subscribers we get to YouTube, then we will be able to broadcast mobilely from YouTube. Currently, we cannot do that. Okay, how far south, that's my dad, how far south and north do they migrate? So their migration is 2,000 to 3,000 miles. So if you figure from Canada, they're going down to the southern parts of the US for their migration. Now, these are strong flyers. That's a big bird, and they can fly pretty quickly. They can go about 40 miles an hour. That's just in level flight. If they get a tailwind, they can get up to 60 miles an hour, or 70 miles an hour, actually. If you compare that to a mallard duck, a mallard can fly at 60 miles an hour. So a mallard is a really great flyer compared to most other birds. So that means that they can migrate on a good day. They can do about 1,500 miles in one day, which means if they get 2 good days, they could complete their migration in 2 days. So really, they're going to be completing their migration in 3 to 4 days. They will be done with their migration. That's from Canada to the southern U.S. Allison can't wait for tomorrow's event. It is going to be really cool. I'm really excited. I don't know what birds they're going to bring. That's the great thing about a place called Hope, is they have so many different birds. I never know which ones are going to come, so I can't really do a preview. I just know that they're going to be native to Connecticut, so that's really cool. Okay, so if you've ever been observing Canada geese, and you know, it's an easy bird to observe. This is the one that I love just sitting out and watching, because you can watch their behavior and see what they're doing. But a really interesting thing sometimes is you see Canada geese have bands. They will put neck bands on them, and that is so that they can monitor. They will study them. The neck bands are pretty large. You can see them from a distance, and that's trying to determine, scientists are trying to determine things about the geese. Dan is asking, are there other types of geese? And yes, there are actually a couple of other types that we get commonly here at Hammonasset. We do get brant geese. That's probably the most common one. Occasionally, you'll hear of a barnacle goose here, and sometimes a snow goose. But typically, this is the Canada and the brant goose are the common ones that you're going to see. And the brant, you really only see them fall, winter, and spring. I don't know that I've seen them in midsummer. So they are a winter visitor to Hammonasset. So Rosemary says there was a film about them, tried to return the geese to migrate again. Was that a Canada goose? I believe that was a Canada goose. I think I know the movie that you're talking about. They have been trained to fly alongside of ultralights and hang gliders. So they got some really great footage of Canada geese in flight. The sad thing about that is once they are trained to fly, they're not really a wild goose anymore. They're pretty domesticated. So the people have to continue to raise them. And I do know people have taken in injured Canada geese and kept them with domestic geese, or just kept them in their yard like a domestic goose, and they will live. They can adapt pretty readily to that lifestyle. Again, they can survive our winters. Our winters are not very harsh any longer, so they can continue to survive the winters. So if one is not able to migrate through typically a wing injury, then they are able to be adopted sometimes. Now, once in a while, if you're looking at geese, this time of year it's hard to tell the young from the adults, but the young are going to be a little bit smaller still this time of year. But occasionally you're going to see a goose with a dropped wing. Their wing is hanging down. That's actually an issue for them. And I'm not seeing any. I haven't seen any at all this year. So we've got some pretty healthy population of geese here. We don't really do anything to deter them here at Hammonasset. Sometimes you will hear of people trying to scare them away, but many of the deterrents that people use, the geese will get used to it. I think the one thing that works is They use firecrackers that you throw into the air, and the explosion scares them away. Even the dogs, when the dog chases them away, once the dog leaves, the geese come back. So the dogs have to do it readily. And the geese will start to get used to the dogs, and the dog will have to chase the geese further and further. Geese are fast runners. I've had to go out and catch injured geese in the past, and it's a tough run to catch them. You think, oh, that bird doesn't look very quick on the ground. They look like they'd be awkward. They are not. They're very quick, and really a pain in the butt to catch them when they're injured. And even when they can't fly, I still have a hard time. So I've mentioned Canada geese in other videos. I really love the black head with that distinctive white patch on their cheek. The rest of the body, is pretty gray. I understand that some people do hunt them and eat them, and I have asked how they taste, if it's like a yummy thing to eat. It's not something that, well, I'm a vegetarian, so I wouldn't eat it anyway, but they say that it really depends on where they're feeding. If they're grass-fed like these, they taste a little better than the ones that are eating saltwater aquatic insects and plants. I guess they take on a different flavor. All right. Darren says, we took weeks to catch an injured one in Westbrook. Yes, it can take a long time. They get smart. If you've pulled up in a car and you see an injured one, you open the door and you step out. As soon as you step out, if it takes off and starts running from you, then someone else has tried to catch it. I can walk pretty close to these. They're not too leery of me, but people aren't out here trying to catch them. So that makes a difference. All right, any other questions about the geese? You can post them. I also encourage you to post where you're from. I always like to see that. I'm going to encourage you to continue to watch these programs Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock. And look out for the special programs. I do have some special programs coming up. I will be doing a nighttime program, at least one. I think I've got 2 or 3 on my list of nighttime programs, so keep an eye out for that. Allison asked, do they have predators? And typically an adult goose is not going to have very many predators. A coyote or a fox might try and catch them. They can, but it's really challenging. But the young definitely do have predators. The coyotes, again, the fox. Large birds of prey may take a goose, and a peregrine falcon, an adult peregrine falcon can take an adult goose. They won't be able to carry it off and eat it. They will kill it, take it to the ground, and eat it where it is on the ground. Nests. So they nest in all kinds of crazy places. They will nest out in fields and in brushy, low brushy areas. Any other questions? All right, we're gonna move a little closer, and I'm gonna tell you all again that Connecticut state parks are beginning to reopen. Hammonasset is open. Other parks may be opening, but again, you should check with the park and see if they're able to open. The DEP is cautious and protective of Connecticut residents. We do not want to see them injured by any branches or any hazards that are created by a storm. So that's why we're going to take our time, make sure everything is safe, and then open up the parks at a safe time. So they definitely, I got too close, so they are walking away. But notice, even as they walk away, there was a little tail wobble and a poop. Don't know if you guys saw that. But even as they walk away, they just turned around and they continue to forage. Birds have to eat a lot, so they do a lot of foraging. They pretty much have to continually forage. And you can see there's a larger group behind this group, and way off to my right there's a small group. And they're all doing the same thing. They're all walking through the fields, eating and pooping, fertilizing the grass. All right, I don't know that I have anything else to tell you about Canada geese. They can get up to 10 eggs when they lay their eggs, but typically their average is going to be around 8 to 9 young. Not all of the young are going to hatch. So one of the things with birds and ducks in general is they have quite a few babies, but not all of them are going to fledge and make it to be able to fly. So a few won't hatch, and then a few more will be eaten when they're smaller, and as they get bigger, you know, those predators are looking out for them. A bird, before it can, so fledging is the learning how to fly. Before they learn how to fly, they're vulnerable to many more predators than once they're able to fly. Even though they're fast runners, a coyote and a fox is also a very fast runner. Kristen is watching now. Everybody should check out the other things that we have on our virtual learning center. So we have connections to Great Park Pursuit is already over, but you can still look at the activities. You could still do the activities if you are interested. No Child Left Inside. You can visit Dinosaur State Park, Goodwin Conservation Center, and Kellogg as well. So there are different facilities that have access. Do they have a leader when they migrate? So that's a good point. When they're migrating, everyone, you know, typically you visualize that big V formation. You're not always going to see the V. You very rarely see the V in Connecticut. Those are for larger flocks, but they do rotate. The leader will switch all the time. So once the lead bird is disrupting the wind first, they're going to get tired quicker than the other birds. So the other birds are drafting off of that first bird. So they will rotate the head of the V. And another bird will just move up in front, and then that shifts the V. So you may have 3 birds on one side of the V and 8 on the other. When one gets tired, it'll drop back on the side with 3, and you'll have 4 and 7 off the sides of the V. So Jocelyn is asking where I am. I am at the west parking lot at Hammonasset Beach State Park. So the park is open now. And then we have Anne is asking, are they dangerous? So I had an injured one time that I was caring for, and it did bite me a couple of times. Didn't hurt that bad. It really just pinches the skin. So they're not really dangerous. I think with like any animal, if they're defending their young, they're going to be more aggressive towards you. But I would not consider them a dangerous animal at all. Susan says, watching them leave, fly, hearing them call is always thrilling. Yeah, it really used to be. That was one of the big signs of spring, is when they'd start to arrive. But now we've got flocks that are moving around all winter. But it is an awesome sound as they're flying over. You can actually hear their wing beats as they fly over. Again, it's a big, heavy bird. It's got a heavy wing beat. So you can hear them fly over you, and then their little honks. I'll let you listen to their honks a little bit. Watching from Rocky Hill. Hello, Rocky Hill. All right, I'm going to actually see if I can get my microphone a little closer to them and then let you just listen to them. I'm not sure if you can hear that. They actually do a little bit of a quieter humming noise, not the loud honk that you hear when they're flying. And now they're honking. Rosemary says that she hears them even at night, and that's a great point. They can migrate at night. They do not have amazing night vision like an owl, but their night vision is probably, it's over 10 times better than ours. It's like 10 to 12 times better than our night vision. So on a moonlit night, for them to migrate is not an issue at all. So they will migrate at night. All right. So if we have any other questions, give you a little chance to put up your last questions. Again, these programs will go on Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock. They are not nocturnal, not considered nocturnal, but they can migrate at night. So nocturnal really means primary activity after dark. Their primary activity is during the day. Oh, there's one that's laid down and foraging. Look at that. Let's get it right in the middle of the picture there. Zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Hard to get this. Try to point at it. Oh, it just got up. That's the way to forage. Just lay on your belly and eat the grass around you. All right, so this is Ranger Russ from the Meggs Point Nature Center. Hammonasset Beach Park is open, so please come and visit. Continue to watch our programs, like us and follow us on Facebook, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. When we get enough people, we'll be able to do YouTube live programs as well. So, until next time, which is tomorrow at 11, this is Ranger Russ signing off.